technology is the way to improve it. So like today, like this kind of tablets and these kind of headphones with microphones, like we can create virtual copies of these physical materials. We can install Wi-Fi. We can use gaming technology, and we can really deliver an experience that is immersive, and that is like children can explore. It's not like this teacher says something, child repeats, and then you get a good grade. That's stupid. That's not learning. That's Googling.
So, Gerd, welcome to #BeingEntrepreneur.
Thank you for inviting me.
And very happy New Year to you. Let's hope 2021 would be a great year ahead. Following from 2020, I think this is going to be a great year. I have a good feeling about this. And for everybody who's watching, a very happy New Year from Sachin and Gerd. So this is a podcast. Today's discussion topic would be, first, let's start by introducing yourself and your company.
Yeah, hello, my name is Gerd Wenning. I am from Germany, and nice greetings to Bengaluru and to all our people watching in India, because we also have quite a lot of people from India in Berlin on our team, but also we have people in India joining us. I'm a Montessori teacher. I'm a guy who really wants to change education. And I have gone through a long search of process, like what is my kind of school, because I always felt like it's not, like you teach in a class, but you feel like you can't reach out to the children. And then I realized that like children need something to work with, like this stuff, for example. This is from Montessori materials. And well, what's the other stuff? Yeah, like this year. And I realized we have to make classes much more interesting. Children need movement. They have to work on the floor, on carpets, and they must choose what they want to learn and so on. And there I learned that, okay, how do we get that? Why is not good education everywhere? And the thing is, you need a special training how to teach with this kind of stuff. And the stuff is expensive.
That's right.
And so in a long process, like I wanted to get this more out, like the great stuff. Then I on an event on robotics in primary school, I got to know Jamal Maxi, and then we teamed up. And then it took a while to say like, okay, technology is the way to improve it. So like today, like this kind of tablets and these kind of headphones with microphones, like we can create virtual copies of these physical materials. We can install Wi-Fi. We can use gaming technology, and we can really deliver an experience that is immersive, and that is like children can explore. It's not like this teacher says something, child repeats, and then you get a good grade. That's stupid. That's not learning. That's Googling.
And sorry for interrupting you. Don't you think only the medium has changed right now, not the actual system?
Yeah. I think like when you look at who is implementing digital education, it's the parents. Who is creating like special tablets for children, because of course, when you do digital education for children, it has to be safe. There are a lot of dangers out there in the internet, and you really have, and the administration is complicated, and so on, and the hardly anybody on the educational system, even not the reform guys, then they are very eco and they are anti-computers, like nobody's really doing it. Nobody's really thinking through. And this is where I like at the beginning I was this Montessori guy, and I said like, okay, I want to create something like Montessori Tutor. You can use speech bots, create assistant teachers, and already like imagine like you're teaching in one class with 25 children. That's you must control them. You must put them onto some narrow road. But once you have 25 assistant teachers, you can completely open up the learning. right? Then it is everybody has his or her teacher. But that can be good or a problem,
It's
like we
not
all.
a problem to the the education community because they have to hire so many people.
Yeah, and but also like if you but also from the view of the child, like if you have the teacher always with you, like
The
that can be a
person should,
nightmare.
yeah, that would be very good. That would be very good.
So like when we get this technology, it is coming. There's tons of learning apps out there, but most of it, and even like for free, like here in Germany, there's a company in Berlin. They're using they're sponsored by the European Union, and they have a learning app that's for free to use. But in the app, what happens is that is like a school book. Yeah, like there's text, then there are some images, and then there's a quiz, and then you get some stars or you get virtual money.
Like that point, that's what I asked. The medium has changed from going physically to school, listening from your teacher in front of you, to digital, Internet of Things, mobile or video call, such things. But I don't think the whole system and the learning concept has changed.
Not at all, no. And this is something like where like we alternative teachers, we are very good about complaining about the rotten system and why it is military style and so on, and why it is harming children. And then when you go to alternative schools, definitely it's a friendly place, right? That's very nice to be at. But in the end, what I witnessed at very cool schools, that there were smart children being bored because we adults, we don't provide enough positive structure. So you have to have, and then when it comes to school, you have these bureaucracies in every country that have like something like the curriculum, and that you can't easily go and take all the learning apps and say this is school. Then you have to report about the progress of the children. You have to, and that's why, because we adults are so scared about the future of these children that we force them into a structure that's quite narrow-minded. And if you want to go for schooling, not only for learning gaming, then you have to deliver answers to them. Like you have to document what the child is working. You have to interpret these activities to the local curriculum, which is different everywhere. So schooling, and also digital schooling, is much more like, it's really like when you bring in new methods, you have to tell the teachers and the parents what the child can learn. You have to, so it's teacher training. You have to bring in virtual materials when the physical ones are too expensive. You have to use every kind of data you can gather to show that the progress of the child. And not doing with multiple choice testing, but really from the work. That's very Montessori. And then you have to convince adults who are very fearful and feel like, oh, I'm a bad teacher or I'm a bad parent, that this is okay.
I mean, parents won't have let's say, they don't have training to analyze the data that that is being maintained, right? The only thing they have is marks card. If they score above, if they score near to 100, then the child is good. Doesn't matter, child behaves badly in school. It doesn't matter. Just the marks should be higher, right? And teachers, like you said, if you provide better data on, let's say, physical education, let's say something else, right? Some other extracurricular activities, but that doesn't matter because of the mark system and the ranking system. That should be eradicated first, because you can't judge. A quote is coming to my mind right now. You can't judge a fish by ability to climb a tree, right? Fish can't climb a tree, so that doesn't make fish stupid.
That's Einstein, I think.
Yeah, Einstein, right?
Absolutely. And the thing is, like these marks, like when you go with your car to and you look at the tire pressure, then you can measure it, and that's the same measurement all over the planet. Maybe not in the US, but everywhere else. And and when you give grades, you can't compare them to anybody.
Exactly.
At the maximum, you can compare within this group of 25 children, but there are millions of other children out there. What does this grade say? Like the thing is, we ourselves as adults, we have gone through this. I wasn't raised at an alternative school, and we have and we think, my life was good, so why change? So that's the usual thing. And then when you want to replace this, like there are many parents saying like this has to be replaced. But the thing is like, but then the question comes up, but what is happening? Like in Montessori schools, like children are happy at school comparatively more than at other schools, and you can see that at the bus stop. Like like the Montessori kids are usually more calm, whereas state school kids are more aggressive. And
you don't know what's coming ahead, right?
Yeah, and Steiner schools are more arrogant. Like really, the school is shaping the character of the child. It has a strong impact, and it's no surprise. Like the founders of Google and Facebook and Amazon, they are our former kids, But the thing is, when child comes home from school and says, and you ask like, how was it? And child says, yeah, it was nice. And every day, as a parent, you feel insecure. And this is where I think we as adults, we have to document the work very well, which is hard. Like imagine you have 25 kids and you have to answer their millions of questions. You have to document for every child what it is doing. Then the parents come. Then you have like all these learning materials, and then the beads are flying around somewhere. Like managing this freedom is super hard. And then you have to adjust that to the curriculum. And then a parent comes and is doubting you and is coming with a lawyer. And, like it is like changing education is a super tough business. And that's where I felt like it's not only about understanding that we have to change, it's about how to do it.
Exactly. And figure out a way how to do it.
And I realized like the best schools are there where the richest people are, right? And then like I was lucky to get a training at one of these, like at the best school of Berlin, and I grew into this. Once you know that, you don't want to go back. But the thing is, like that's for the elite. They try to reach out to many more people, but that's an economical thing. Like you have to have better trained teachers. And the state teacher training doesn't help you into this. You need, and not in Germany at least. You need a lot more materials, you need more staff. Like good education is like good computers, they are expensive. And that's what people don't want to invest into the future. Like we prefer paying for soldiers and for weapons, rather than for a good future. And that's why we are stupid. And to me, digitalization is the chance to we can take this and we can put this into Unity and we can create a virtual app on it with gaming technology. And then we have a virtual material that's easy to install and easy to multiply. So, and it is getting close to the experience. It's not the real thing, but it's getting close to it. And then within the virtual material, we can document everything. We have to store it very carefully, of course, but we can document everything and we can interpret it because there's neuroscience, there is data analysis and so on. And we can really closely get close to the thinking of the child and the work in progress. And the more we learn, the better we can provide different further activities.
That's true.
So like the child doesn't feel like pulled onto a narrow road where it doesn't want to be, but discovers that learning is a wide thing, but still at the same time is in a secure environment. And over time is accumulating the knowledge that society wants it to accumulate. And this is this opening up, this learning environment where you can observe that where the children calm down, where the classrooms become far more beautiful, far more varieties into it, because our schools also, like they are military barracks, aren't they? Most of them. And if you consider what a child needs, like movement and so on, these schools don't have enough space. Like once they open up, then these schools they fluctuate into the corridors, and then the housekeeper comes and says, "Yeah, but for fire escape we need a more space." Like children need much more space, more support, and everything. And we think that digitalization does not, by no means, means replacing teachers or educators or parents. By no means. I want more teachers in schools, and I want, like, like you see, like when two pilots fly an airplane, there are two pilots with two autopilots, and they just fly one airplane. And imagine, like, at least you as a teacher who is helping 25 children to fly, if you want, like, give them 25 autopilots or auto teachers, so that at least the chance is there to get it better. And that's why I think digital education or digital schooling is really revolutionizing slowly over time on all aspects, on all levels. And as far as I can see right now, it's just at the beginning. And I completely understand my colleagues when they say, like, when I use a tablet, well, I witnessed myself, like, I was using 3 tablets with 25 children. I had 25 children piling up on top of the 3 tablets. That was like a bulk of children. It was chaos.
I get that.
And then my like the manager for education, the quality of that school came in and said, but what did they learn? I said, they had fun. Yeah, but what? These questions, like, schooling is something where all of these aspects come together, where we can use, like Amazon is using AI to make sure that the products are nearby that you probably will buy. Why not having the learning materials nearby that you would probably need, And when we have the data about the learning process, delivering these materials just in time to the right classroom. Imagine that, like your city, Bengaluru. Like, I don't know how many children are there in kindergarten, primary school, and like in the early years of secondary school, providing them with great learning materials just in time, and making these places beautiful. Yeah, that is expensive, but you can manage this with digital education, and you can see the progress. You can, even towards your politicians, you can say, like, if you invest, I don't know how many rupees, you will get such an improvement in happiness of children, and in parents' happiness, and in teachers' happiness. You will reduce the burnout rate on the teacher's side. Yeah, that's what digital schooling is about. And yeah, we are about to create our functional prototype. We have some visions that I can also share with you if you want.
Sure, please do.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it on the screen. Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is, really, like, what we do in this presentation, we really try to imagine it, and we are on the cusp of realizing this with prototypes. And so this is the first phase we are currently in. And this here is one of the things that we envision. Like, if you have, like, the child having its own virtual teacher, and this is also a nice Montessori material called the binomic cube. But then the teacher in the classroom has to manage the learning of many children. So there should be some kind of dashboard. You see, like, this is you work on the platform of, like, Berlin, the curriculum from that area. And when you have an assistant teacher, everything that this software should do should be under your control, because in the end you are deciding what's going on. And it should be beautiful. It should be easy to manage. It should reach out to not only the teachers, but also the parents and the students, because in the end, it's like, these adults are the ones who are there to support the young generation. And we have to get them as positively and as closely and as collaboratively together as possible. And we can use speech, voice output, voice input. That's very essential. Because, like, with reading, and the younger children, they don't want it. And to be honest, I also myself, I love seeing videos, and I love hearing. Yeah. And then it's a management thing, of course. And I'm just going through some of the ideas. Like, here is a score written. This is, I would call this, like, progress on activities we can provide. like as you can see, like even within our team, the visions. I will stop here maybe. Okay. I just want to show you, like, this is also like, this is some kind of more like evaluation.
Okay.
On the progress, and that's something where I'm really curious to find out how can we what can we really measure, and how can we display that? What kind of
What
stuff?
kind of parameters you'll be looking at to collect the child data, child's data, right?
Yeah. Like, there's we have some hard data. Like, children have to learn like the multiplication board. That's everywhere. Like, we can produce this, and we can establish this into every curriculum. We don't have to cover the whole curriculum. Like, probably I'm not very good at the history of Bengaluru or something, right? But this kind of learning math is everywhere.
Of course.
So like, we can create global offerings and use global technologies, use Starlink from SpaceX to get into every classroom of the world. But in the end, we have to give local answers. We have to encourage local people.
Where is this going? How will this help my kid in the future or this academic year? That's the question you're going to get the most. So I think you should have a ready answer for that. I think
this will give you, depending on how much time you will have to spend with your child, like also like co-working and like also like we as adults will become more mobile and wherever we want to work. So you will be able to be with your child much more. You will, like, when you have this kind of software, you will get the virtual or even the zoomed in teacher into your home whenever you want. Like, schools will become service centers. What is like in the corona pandemic already, like, schools are kept open because parents want to work. They need this place to shelter the children, right? But you will be able to get far more dynamic support. Like, when the child is at home, you will understand better about the child, and when you and your family is moving somewhere, you will be able to move. Like, families will profit a lot, and still, you as a father or a mother, you can prove towards the authorities that your child is learning what it should learn. The basic schooling thing will work, just much better, much more flexible, and with less pain on everybody involved.
And let's talk about the topic that we discussed, that we agreed on, education system and the problem it has and the way it needs to be changed. So would you like to go first?
Yeah. Well, like, I already see, like, for example, these very expensive, very good institutions. Like, you go in with your child there in a kindergarten, and it can stay on the same campus until it prepares for university. Like, we have these frictions of kindergarten, then primary school, secondary school, and so on. And every time, if you are forced to go to another place rather than developing into another place, and you have these fixed times, and now you're a school kid, and so on, that's always pain. And the thing is, like, children need safety. They need a place where they can go, where they are accepted the way they are, where they can relax. Like, the pressure of having to deliver on children is enormously high. And this is killing the fun of learning very often. And when you see, like, very successful people, they have kept their fun of learning, and they have grown self-confident to learn from errors, and not to fear errors, but to say, hello, my friend, you are an error. Okay, I can learn from you, And this is where I feel all these structures that we currently have, in the end, will slowly open up. There will be like primary schools, secondary schools cooperating more. Kindergartens are already doing. I think like kindergartens are doing the best work. They're very hands-on, obviously, and this gets lost somehow. And then in the end, like you see them going to university, and after that, they go into the industry, and they must be productive and everything, and they have lost this "I do it my own way" thing, like as you are also for your agency, right? it gets lost, the fun of the whole thing.
Mhm.
And for many children. And this is something no society can afford anymore. We don't need all the people doing all the same and thinking all the same.
I
We
think
can use a robot.
Kids are sent into some institution. Kids are being transformed into what institution, portrays as a proper pathway. Then institutions are not getting adjusted to child. The children are getting adjusted to institution because
Yeah.
let's say it's an engineering college, the kid has to be an engineer. Before the kid decides, parents are pushed. I have live examples of my friends who have been like this, right? For me, when I finished my 10th grade, I had no idea. I had only two options in my mind. One is arts and one is science. I'm very bad at science, so I thought I was taking arts. But my dad told me there's something called commerce. You can go over there. I can do my BCom, then MBA. Then, he had a motto: you struggle for 5 years, you'll be happier for next 50, right? So same way I followed, but after MBA, I learned that what I'm working on and what I studied in the last 5 years in my degree and my MBA is completely different. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. I sell softwares, products or services. I sell. It was not taught in my MBA. Only thing we learned was statistics, accountancy, all those things. It's nowhere related. But the amount of interest that I have in business right now and marketing right now, if I had this in my college, some kind of material, some kind of coaching, something, I think we could have reached real, we could have gone hands-on experience even before we stepped out of college, right? So I think lot of colleges and to your point, I think to the school level, things have to be introduced. Maybe the basic learning structure won't change. I don't believe it will, because it's going to be very difficult to change. And even if it's not, I think this extra things which can be added to the child's curriculum. Let's say I think in India there's a rule, above fifth grade everybody has to learn coding, basic coding. Every child is going to learn basic coding because technology is evolving day by day. A lot of apps are coming, a lot of businesses have been started in tech itself. So I think this is a good initiative, because I didn't have any. I still don't. By the way, I don't have any knowledge in IT. I'm trying to learn some coding right now because I have a little free time. But if it was done when I was in sixth grade, I think I would have been uh, let's say today I have to depend on someone to develop my website. I think I would have done myself, right? And for you too, right? I think you have technical knowledge, so you're doing.
Yeah, I'm a math teacher, and I always kept the technical knowledge. So I dive into all the stuff.
Mhm.
When like as a founder, if you don't can't convince people to join you, then you have to do everything yourself, which means
Exactly.
really everything. And there is nothing like when something is hard at our team or at digital schooling, I have to go and fix it. That's
Exactly.
simply the truth.
Right now, I'm trying to learn that. IT, I have zero knowledge. I have absolutely
Yeah.
zero knowledge. I'm trying to learn coding, basic coding, and all, and hope it gets well. I'm not gonna learn it to an extent where I can do anything I want, just to create basic things so that I
Yeah,
don't have to depend on.
you have to know it. You have to know when you talk with coders, you have to understand their thinking. Otherwise, there's a blockade in communication.
Exactly. I don't know. If I talk to clients, they're going to tell me something, okay, we want in this programming or another language. I don't know that, right? I need to go to my coders. I have to talk to them. Okay, they're going to not possible. You're convinced for this, and I have to go back over there. And I'm going to say something else. I don't know. It's a communication gap between that. So I think
Sachin, I like to hear your story. What I feel, right, is like if you had the opportunity to follow your interest, you would have come up with a question to your teacher, say, I want to code. And nobody would have to, like even earlier, like in the first, I know, like in the like 6-year-olds, they want to code. Fifth grade, like all these stuff, like in Germany, like in the first school year, you learn the numbers up to 40. Usually, like if children learn on themselves, they already know numbers into the 100,000s at the same age. We are crippling the development of the people because we don't trust them, and we don't provide rich input. And the cool thing is, we can always catch up. Now that we have this learning global world, we can always work on our problems. What is most frustrating to me is to see young people being like, lost their life, lost their inner child, lost everything. I can't do anything. Lost their dreams, and this. I understand children need safety, for sure. You like children need this calm focus. When they are too pulled out everywhere, then they can't build the structures in their brain. Like when children are really focused on something, and the longer they are, then they use their life energy to create the brain structures. Rather than beating somebody or like they have this energy, but it has to go into a positive development, and that is a calm development. And that only comes through safety. But at the same time, it is important that their inner voice, that they can listen to it, and they can stay in touch to it. And I've seen children like they were 10 years old and they had been to Montessori kindergarten and primary school. They were so cool. Like they were at their school, they were showing me like, come outside, I'm showing you my garden. They were planting plants there, and they knew these plants. I didn't. And they said, oh, my school is so cool. Like we can team up 3 people and then we can go to the museum. And they are like age, that's 10 to 12 years old. And they can decide, oh yeah, today we go there. And when they're outside on the street, police is coming, say, you have to be at school. And then they call our school, we are at school. Like we like children are our future. And we desperately need change in order to survive on this planet.
It is.
And and that's the point where the need of change is inevitable. Like doctors have told me that school is making children sick. Like we have, like when the reports come out, we have suicides of children on the planet. How disgusting is that? This has to end. But you can always complain about that, But the thing is, how do we get change better? We have to get better activities and better teachers out there. And we have to explain to parents. And this is the process where we have to make use of every chance of digitalization, because digitalization is speeding up the process of change. And this is exactly why I wanted to go on this route. And then Jamal joined and Chad joined and many others. And now our team is growing. And it's really, I'm so sure, like this year, we will start our company in Berlin. We will start also an Indian company. We have already the opportunity to be in Bangalore. So, and India is very, very open to this. It's really like, wow, it's very amazing. Also, like New York is quite coming up right now. We'll have some potential partners on the East Coast in the US. And and this, if you go this way, there will be success. And whatever form of success is great because it's for the good.
It is. And the thing is, let's say a child doesn't have proper instructions or proper guidance. It comes from either a teacher or a parent, right? If they both are pressurizing the child to get that marks, to be, it doesn't matter how the kid behaves. It doesn't matter how the kid is. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting in a 40 minutes class and I'm paying attention. Just have to, rehearse what the materials are and just have to pass the exam. That's it. If those parameters are cut off, and like I said before, other parameters are, introduced. Let's say, I don't know, like the scientific things, maybe observation capacity or how the child, behaves to certain stimulus, or how the child, behaves in certain situations. If any kind of life situations are introduced to the child, let's say a child behaves in a different way, you can understand the child better instead of just doing the, getting that particular marks, right? So that's the question I was about to ask you. Like, what kind of parameters would you introduce to collect data from the child?
I think most importantly, like what you already were addressing, like how we address the child. That's the first thing, because many adults don't know how to talk to children with regard to learning. You should always be prepared to have like several offerings. Like you should tell a story. Children love to understand how this world was created. And there are many stories we don't even know myself. Like, for example, the 360-degree sign, this little circle.
Mm-hmm.
There was in Baghdad, in Babylon, there was astronomers, and they were on a high tower, and they were carving in from when the sun went down, all these points, and then they saw, oh, we have 365 days a year. And they had a 12-based number system, so they reduced this to 360 because you can divide it by 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said the circle has got 360 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And this little degree sign is still a symbol of this physical circle that was there on a tower in Baghdad.
Okay.
And when you tell a story like that to a child, then wow, that's interesting.
What the child has that we all don't? Curiosity to know things, curiosity to understand something. It's the passion that comes out of curiosity. We don't, if somebody else is telling this story, we hardly care because we have our own shit to take care of, right? I have my work, so and so things. But as a child, there's my niece is 10 years old. She has so many questions to ask anything. I can answer as much as possible, right? So in her school, it's not happening. If they ask some kind of questions, they get tuned out. They're not focusing in class. They just get tuned out.
And these questions always have the interest of the child it has to reinvent the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole development of mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And it does so. And so that is the first thing. Like at our Montessori schools, for example, in the first grade, we collect the children and we have a chemical experiment that is a volcano eruption. Mm-hmm. So we start to tell them the evolution of the universe as the first thing when they go to school. Mm-hmm. So the storytelling, which should be a storytelling ideally of the teachers or the adults that they relate to. Like as I talk to you right now, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And so we need that. We need to connect to children. We have to tell them where they come from, and not only with problems, but with the amazing inventions and discoveries of our planet and our history. Mm-hmm. And the second thing, then we have to provide them materials where they can step in and they can experiment with that, like where some of these aspects are materialized. They love to create their own books. They don't have, they love to create their own overviews. And then they want to tell their stories out of it together with the others. They usually never want to learn alone. Mm-hmm. And then we have to provide them, that's typical in our education, like we always provide them 3, 4, 5 activities they can choose from rather abstract to more hands-on. And they, depending on their mood, they choose, and depending on what somebody else wants, they are extremely socially connected. Like so children are pure social media, anyways, And this is where like the structure that we want them to grow into does provide a certain logic from very big to more abstract. The activities that we can offer, that's related to the story of our planet, and that's related to the structures in geometry and so on. So what we have is we do have a standardized way of experiences that every child needs to learn. Mm-hmm. And this is where like routine communication can come in, and where we can provide good offerings. Once we have these great offerings, we can see how the child is absorbing it. Mm-hmm. We can see at what pace, we can see what it chooses among the opportunities. Mm-hmm. And then we can get an understanding like the synchronous development, like of the fine muscles. That's very like medical, right? We can assume how much words it knows, and so on. Like we can gather a lot of data. And so we need this guidance along these paths. And in chatbot software, like you create them. It's called paths of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We have branches where you offer into different directions. So this is built into edtech of today, and then we can use AI to connect that to I think most of all like saying like of development of the child, like healthy movement.
Mm-hmm.
Fun on learning, like the emotional happiness is very essential, and the level of absorption of abstract level. That's what you usually do in tests, on these papers, this kind of stuff. We can observe that when the children are doing that, and then because it has to be legalized in the situation as it is, like we can't wait until the system is like politicians listen to us and they change the system. No, we have to go in with an offering.
Yeah.
And then we have to connect that to whatever they have in their paragraphs. And the idea behind these paragraphs is nice. Like they want, but the thing is, it's not concrete enough. So we will provide a lot of information. Like, okay, this activity is good for the development of the child, like that. And in your area, this would mean very likely these and these paragraphs are checked.
Mm-hmm.
And I dream of, for example, like selling our apps in the App Store, and then parents using that, and then observing at home how smart their child is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the teacher at school probably thinks this child is stupid because it's not behaving in the pattern the teacher expects. And that parents come along on school when they have the talk with the teacher and say, like, we know that our child is like this and that. Why don't you see it?
It's like, when I explain in simple terms, it's like Google Analytics, right? You go into Google Analytics. If your website is linked to that, every person that visits your website, analytics will show exactly in what page they were spending most time on, and how many seconds, how many minutes, and what they looked into. If you can provide exact data like this, how the child, as soon as it arrives in the school, and the child's whole day is, data is collected, and that data can be, analyzed and by the parent, by the teacher. I think that, we can provide a better future for the child. It doesn't matter if he's not good in maths or something. He might be better in, painting or any kind of other arts. That's too.
Cool. There are so cool painting apps on this iPad. Like it's so cool. I love painting, but and the thing is, like in the education professionals, like Google Analytics, like that's devil. Facebook, that's devil. Like it's the thing is, okay, Facebook of course is using all this data, for example, to sell your ads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something you should never do with this data of the children.
Mm-hmm.
We should always use this data in order to for us, so that we can provide better offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like very often we don't understand the child, and then we say to them, "You are stupid,"
mm-hmm.
and then the child is lost, of course. And it's about us. We have to understand better. We have to provide better offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the children that I've ever met in my life, and it's quite a lot, they absorb it. Once you have this friendly approach, they go through, like they adopt to this, and they learn this in a speed you can't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like they learn much faster than all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we are the problem.
Yeah, exactly. We are like, what we saw and what we went through, we expect our kid to be the same, right? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did this. If I'm successful in my field, I'm gonna expect my child to be the same. So
yeah, that's the problem. And you can only break this up when, because it's all, everything I say probably sounds very nice for everybody who's listening,
mm-hmm.
but you have to experience positive change, and then you have to learn to trust that. And so you need these cool activities, like in the Montessori schools, like many people who come their first time say, like, oh, I would have loved to have the same. Mm-hmm. That's what they say. But in the end, if your child does it, then like grandpa is saying, who doesn't learn really anything, it's hard to give a better learning opportunity for your child. It's a pain for the parent, because the society isn't like that. Being innovator is always a pain.
It is.
And the only way to sustain your motivation to do that, and to like, obviously it's never good to shout at your child. It's never good to beat your child, but still it happens. It happens always, because we are not coping with it. So I think digitalization, the core thing is, we can, as adults, we can create these communities of people who do this. We can make this learning activities very concrete, and we can explain, and we can not only explain on an abstract level, but we can explain with regard to your child. And when you go to your child and you talk about it, the child hopefully should say, yeah, that's how I feel. Thank you. Like, I know colleagues who are from Sweden. They use eye trackers, so to see how children read.
Okay.
And they, from the eye movement, they can see whether a child is reading calmly, going step by step every word, or whether the eyes are floating around. And then they can see, like, oh, this is too hard for the child to read. So they use this data to provide easier text.
Okay.
And sometimes, but also maybe more interesting text. Maybe it's too boring. Maybe the child is floating around because it's too boring. That's also interesting. Like, maybe like these children who don't behave well, maybe they are not stupid, but they are too smart, right? And then I asked them, like, okay, it was an event at Microsoft in Berlin. And so these big tech companies, they are really supportive on this. And then they said, like, I said, like, yeah, but this testing and so on, what do the children say? And they say they want to be tested by computers. They don't want to be tested by their teachers. They trust the computers.
But computer doesn't interpret, right? Teachers have to. Other humans have to. They have to analyze and interpret the data. Computer just generates the data.
Yeah, and this interpretation of the data does help. It just means something. No, like, why do we have all of these analytics are like in medicine? Why do we go into these machines that go into our body? It helps. It shows the situation. Then we know how to deal with it. And we don't have to use like we don't have to go into the brain of a child, but we can observe so much from the behavior, and with these electronic devices, we can have so many sensors of every child. We can gather so much data, and when we do that right, that's not a problem. That's not a fear. Like most teachers, like, imagine like having a camera on your forehead. Like when you work with this kind of stuff, that the AI is always observing what you do, and then giving you a hint when you are doing typical error patterns that are there. Like for most teachers, I will never do that with my child. That's what the adults say when I talk like that. And it's a hard story to be innovator on this.
It is. I just want to know, like, for your company, the digital schooling company, what's the macro vision? So, what do you hope to accomplish from your company?
Yeah, the thing is, we look at where the stress points are, and the stress of children and of learning, that's very often mathematics. And that's why I'm always showing up this mathematical stuff, and the thing is, we want to grow into every country with our offerings. We want to partner up with everybody. It's not like I have to become famous or super rich or whatever. It doesn't matter at all. The thing is, we want to help. We use now with these communication technologies, we can reach out to far more people, and we want to help. We want to provide concrete solutions, and wherever the need is there, we want to go, and we want to partner up. So, like, the idea is to have this change as fast as possible, because every day matters. There are children suffering in school because of education right now. There are souls being destroyed, and we have to stop that. That's the vision. Like it's like driven from the pain that I felt myself when seeing what's going on. Yeah.
And you have experienced it firsthand, right? You were the teacher So
Yeah, and I've worked in kindergarten, I've worked in secondary schools, I even worked in youth prisons,
mhm,
and I've worked at all different types of schools, and also like conservative schools that really push children in a super hard timetable. And then I was there, and I saw like these children getting 6-year-olds getting tired and don't wanting to go to school. I've seen so much of this stuff, and that's why I've always been searching to find a way. And I think this is now, like with this digital revolution, inevitably this change will come.
mhm.
And on this way, like, how crazy is that? Like that a guy like me can simply talk about an idea, and that people are joining me even if I don't have money. I mean, that's already crazy, isn't it?
Exactly.
And we will get started now, and we will develop our prototype, and it's granted, we have the people, it will come. And then we go into schools, and once we have that, like we have children working with our virtual materials, and we can prove that we can show and understand children and help teachers to be more friendly to children. Like the more everything goes on, it will go on this year. And then I will come to India, and we will rock your country. I mean, how cool is that?
I think it's going to be a very great platform, for a child to learn something this way, instead of just sitting in the classroom or
Yeah.
sitting in front of a computer right now. So because of the pandemic, I
Yeah.
think this is going to be very helpful. And
It's this,
yeah,
this is it.
I sit with my niece every day for her school. Like,
No, but it has to be for children, It's not a computer. It's this tablet. And it's the iPad.
Mhm.
It's not a cheap Android bullshit. It is expensive.
Mhm.
It costs something to provide good stuff to your child.
Mhm.
And we have to get much more money into education, and out of war, get it out of that, like out of cigarettes, out of alcohol, put it into iPads.
Anyway, like I was saying, I think this is going to be a very great business. I truly believe in that, and I wish you all the best.
Thank
And
you.
I would like to suggest some kind of tactic that hope it will get you there, right? And I think right now, you need a proof of concept, right? That happens only when a school ties up with you and it is implemented on some children, right? And the parameter says they have to achieve some kind of good grades, or they have to achieve some kind of interest in a particular field through your app. So I think the best way for you to get started, even though you're in a prototype stage, I think you need to start a YouTube channel or any kind of podcast regarding how to develop your child's education or interest in certain topic. I don't know, I just gave you the concept. I'm just telling you the concept, right? So I think you can start from anywhere, right? It's free. You can start from anywhere. You can start maybe like a reality TV show. You can talk to a child, you can talk to some parents, you know deal with the problems. You can learn the problems from parents, what kind of problems they're having because of online coaching and all, or what kind of problems they're having with the child because of the current education system. And then you can talk to the child, where a child can express exactly what's happening. We are just speculating here, but we went through the same phase. But now we can't go back there, and we can't again start there, right? A child can explain better. I think combating those problems and providing solutions through your channel, so that kids can come there and watch, and also providing educational content, not the mainstream content that we study in school. Like you said, the degree is simple. You explained a story to me. That's storytelling, right? That can get the child interest in your products. You don't have to sell anything from there. You just have to show what your company is doing to a child's development. You show that, the child will go home and ask her parents, okay, this is the app, so and so app, I want to learn from this. Parents will of course grant. Parents going to buy anything the child wants, right? Even if the child asks, I want to learn from this, that's the biggest gift a parent can imagine. I want to learn. That no child will tell it, I never told that. Even I didn't tell my mom and dad I want to learn from this, right? For me, schooling was like, okay, I need to go, I need to get marks. I thought for once I go to college, everything will be great. the glamour of college, right? From there, I thought once I go to work, everything will be there, the glamour of work. But now I realize school life was much better, and I realized that learning something for my passion would have been much greater, right? Instead of just going through the motions. I think you can combat those problems by your channel. So I think this will work.
Yeah, basically, we have the same vision as you just described. So, Sachin, that was very nice to see our strategy being reaffirmed.
Mhm.
And it's also cool. Like we have Miraj Ahmed on our team. He originated from Bangalore. He's now in Berlin, and he's pushing very much into that direction. So yeah, it's a matter of time. From my experience as a teacher, I have also seen these fears of adults. And I have seen how important it is to take that, to give positive answers to that, like security of the child, no abuse of the data, and also the curriculum. Is this what I, as a parent, have to make my child learn?
Yeah.
This we have to calm the parents down, and we have to calm the politicians down, and we have to tell them, if you spend $10 million there, you will have 5,000 happy children. That's what they need. They need data for their bureaucracy. Like everybody who is involved has a certain horizon. That is logic. That's okay. Thing is this coming together, and this coming together is through the data and through positive examples. And then there are so cool learning activities. Not only like Montessori is classical, like it's 70, 80 years old, but now there are so cool ideas of how learning can take place. But getting this from an app store learning app into school is a process. Yeah. And this is where I see, like, we will have the speech-based assistant with voice, and hopefully also with a camera one day. And on this platform, we want to get as many interesting learning activities into the schools where we document the child's work and where we interpret towards the curriculum, so that it's for teachers just one easy click to provide completely great activities, but still being teacher, right? This is where I think our success will come when we really show up. Like we are professional coders, we really do next gen development of technology, like absolutely AR, VR, everything, AI, all of this stuff. It's hard technology stuff. We do that legally, so it's hard bureaucratic stuff there. And then if you only look at Apple products, they are great because it's hard work built into it, so that it works. It's not because somebody was having a nice vision. It's hard work, and this hard work will take its time. And it's important that everybody who's joining us, that we really like get everybody happy with this, like give also equity to everybody who joins, so that like the success we create, that it is the success of your personal success. It's not just like, why, if you do good for the world, you shouldn't suffer.
It's not just working 9 to 5 and
No.
It's a vision, and you work for the betterment of everybody.
Yeah, and the things like that was like what was so cool for me to become an alternative teacher was like, I understood, like, if you want children to do their own thing, I have to be a positive role example. So I have to do my own thing.
Exactly.
So I changed my life. And then I came up with ever cooler people, there are these downward spirals, but there's also like upward spirals. And I met great people. So I like at the beginning, my vision was very small. And then because I was joined by great people, I dared to speak out a larger vision. And like last year, I was registering digital-schooling.earth. So we have the global domain about digital schooling. And we want to use this domain to present data about how we change our planet. Like from a frustrated guy who stopped his PhD in education and said, I hate university, from a guy who was like in Berlin saying, school is so bad. I've turned into somebody saying, let's change our blue marble. It's fantastic.
And another way you can, maybe provide the proof concept. It will be a, a helpful thing for when you're going to any particular institution or school to pitch your idea. Maybe you can, like I said, when it comes from the child, parents will get involved, and parents might give that, your apps and your products to the child. And also, if you get some kind of quiz and if you collect some kind of data from the kid, let's say I'm watching some kind of video, let's say the Big Bang Theory, right? I'm watching something on that, and you have, it's not just a video or a movie, you're selling me a story over there, you're telling me a story over there. So if you quiz me on that, not just question and answers, my thoughts, my opinions, those are kind of the questions you need to ask, right? If you just quiz me, okay, what was the first bang, where did earth end up, I don't know the technical stuff, I don't care also, right? But if you ask my opinion on it, that, those kind of data, when you take those kind of data, maybe you can go share it in your school.
Like we have developed this thing, like you can create your own book from it, like let them collect their own knowledge and let them present it. Like I've seen 6-year-old who couldn't even read, I've seen them presenting in front of a small school. Like share your thinking, share your work, and collect it and structure it, and let the children develop their own structure. A quiz is always an external structure. Of course, you should ask, how are you? Like there should be always a stop button. Like if that's also kind of a quiz. But the thing is, we should have as much as possible these where the children create a product. Like I was in a Montessori school, and then I saw like 14 or 16, 15-year-old young men outside with a boat that they had built. And they went down to the river to go to make it swim. We have to become very concrete, like engineers, like social contacts, and so on. And it's really like, I think like this super brain oriented academic stuff is something that's disconnected from our thing. Like children want to be useful. They want to do useful stuff. Like in Montessori kindergartens, you see that the children, they even want to clean the floor. They love that, what we all hate. Like they want to do. They are incredibly motivated. And there are amazing teachers out there and educators who keep this interest with the children, and there are great activities, and it's all there. We just have to make it accessible with the new technologies in a form that lowers the barrier on all levels, like cheaper, more transparent, easier to access, and so on. That's basically like speeding up the development. But the great people are out there,
Exactly, but it should, like we discussed earlier, it should come from the child also. It should be interesting to child also, and it also should come from the parents and the teachers.
But I like the parents, from my experience, are definitely, you will always find parents who love that.
Of course, you will. Of course.
Yeah, of course. Like parents, that you always find these parents who love their children and who feel with their children and who see how their child is becoming more like this over time. And there are parents who are not happy with that, and we can go with these parents, and that's okay. Like people are there who want this. People are there who want to create this. People are there who want to change this, and that's what I experience. Like whenever I go somewhere, like people are immediately interested in it.
Exactly. You lead by example. Once you start showing what exactly this does to a child or how it develops a child, you lead by example. Others will follow. If my niece is doing something, her friends want to do it, right? So they're going to follow like that. I think you're onto something really great and I really appreciate people like you. And already, I told you, right? I interviewed another person from Avidia Labs. So they are into the same thing. They wanna, you know, story and gamify and teach concepts in a form of stories. So it's a
And
great
we are
learn.
open to collaborate with these kind of people, like nobody has to, like, very often it's like in the startups, like competition, what's your USP, uh, and the thing is, like, there's so much need for change. Who cares?
Exactly.
Like get together, get this stuff done, and change the world. And then, like, it's not like a market where I have to fiercely get to fight my share of the market against somebody else. No, it's not that. Like, even in the business world, in the startup world,
Hmm.
and also in the investor world, and so on. Like, we are the problem. We have to change. Everything is fine. We have these amazing chances. We have amazing technologies. We are connected,
Hmm.
like you and me, like
Exactly.
thousands of kilometers away, to having a wonderful conversation. Future is great.
That's why I even started this show, right? I wanted to learn from people. I'm not an expert in business. I just started. I want to learn from different entrepreneurs, their perspectives, their concepts, how to deal with certain things. That's how I start. I basically discuss about the concepts that are in their interest, but also I can share my 2 cents. Like I shared the strategy with you, right? I shared the same strategy with them also. I mean, they might implement, I don't know, but it's my job. It's my, I feel that I can provide some kind of a value to you. That's the reason. Because I don't want you to feel like, you came here, you just spoke about your business and you left. There was no value. I don't want you to feel like that. And
Great. Looking forward to working with you, Sachin.
that's true. I mean, I would love to. I would love
Of
to, because
course.
I would love to contribute in any way possible.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, I hope to get my vaccination,
Mhm.
and we'll still have to wait. But this year is we are waking up.
Yeah,
So, and I want to come to Bangalore,
you are look me up.
and then we get this whole thing going. I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too. And I would like to ask you, do you have any kind of advice you can provide for any entrepreneurs that want to start, or maybe thinking of starting, or any kind of advice you can share?
Mm. The thing is, really, like, you only can do that when you really feel the need of this.
Hmm.
Like, you can't create a business when it's not really your thing. Like, what I'm talking about is my life story.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's my pain story. I was frustrated. I was leaving this university thing and so on. And you must be very hungry for positive change.
Hmm.
So and it is extremely hard. You have to go all in, and it will eat you up, and you will invest so much of energy, and then slowly things come back to you, and then slowly their team is coming, and then very late, it's always longer than you think, there will be this company, and so on. So make sure that you are well, nice and friendly to yourself,
Hmm.
and that you nurture yourself, that you take the time, that you never regret.
Hmm.
Like, doing every step that you do into starting up something, it
Hmm.
must be your dream step, every single step.
Hmm.
Otherwise, anyway, you are crazy. Anyway, somebody else is smarter. Anyway, you're lost. So, okay, cool. I do this, though I'm lost.
Hmm.
You have to be fully committed to it, and then you should learn from great examples. Like, I'm learning a lot from Elon Musk, for example. He's 2 years younger than me, and this man is amazing. At the same time, I'm not doing everything like at Tesla. I also have my style.
Hmm.
That is part of my story and my way. I always
Very important, right? When I started this, right, I was following Gary Vaynerchuk on very high scale. I used to watch every videos of his, I, I got motivated a lot by him. I had no idea what marketing was, but when I saw his videos, because when I was working as a salesperson, I couldn't sell, just by doing cold calls, cold emails. I wanted to explore what else is there, right? So with that, with his video, then here I am. So I'm doing it in my own style. I don't want to be like Gary Vaynerchuk himself, but I would just want to be me. I want to, do things. I want to build my personal brand. Maybe the agenda is the same, but I want to do it in my style. And you told me the other day when on a call, like you had a great job in a better university, but you left that job and you came back to this. What drove you from there to here?
Now there was here in Füssen where I lived. I was here at the Montessori school, and then after a year, it was obvious that I was asking too critical questions, and then I would have the opportunity to apply at a other Montessori school close to Switzerland, where I knew the school, I knew the manager, I knew the problems that I faced here were when I would not be there, and I would have a full-time job and everything. Like as an employed teacher, it would have been definitely a huge progress, which also showed that I was doing great stuff while not being accepted. Sometimes you overstretch other people, and then it's okay to go on. And I said, like, yeah, but in the end, I want this. I don't want to be just an employed teacher, even at a great school, like even living in a beautiful town in the mountains and everything good. No, I want to leave traces in this world. That's why I said, I have the right to say, because you have a jobless insurance in Germany. So I had the right to say, I don't move right now to another place. And then they provided me with a coach. So I was learning to write business plans and so on. And I'm just using my rights that I have to really work with the authorities and to get this up and running. And I feel like, having the privilege to work on this and get this forward. And it's been super hard, but also it feels very successful at the moment. So it was completely worth it, although not having too much money and so on, like being officially jobless, people are bashing you always. And
I was a freelancer after I got fired from my job. I became a freelancer. Basically, people treated me as an unemployed. What are you doing? Why do you post every day? Why do you do these videos? They won't get it. I'm doing it for my own personal brand. So when I talk to a client, they'll know what I'm talking about.
When you create a team, there was one young woman. She was wanted to have instant success. And then when like others on the team, when they had a lot of stress during their usual work, she was not very. She didn't have the passion to wait and to understand their situation. And then I had to tell to her, and she was very smart. And she said, like, I said to her, like, you don't want to be here. There was, because of our startup situation, there was a conflict between the people. And it was so stressful. That was a year ago. I'm still sometimes.
Matter, right? If the person is not or not, it doesn't matter. If she is not a team player, then it's not going to work out.
Exactly.
Dynamics won't work.
The team is everything. Get the team. Make sure that you find ways so that somehow at least most of the people get some kind of improvement. It's super hard. And it's every day. From Monday to Sunday, 365 days.
There's no such thing as breaks, or there's no such thing as holidays, off hours, Just have to keep working, keep improving every day and every day.
Yeah. And then you need to like, I have the mountains here. I can go out into great nature. I'm practicing yoga. I take my time to recover, but still, like it was like, now it's getting better, but like the last one, like having this job here, moving here, then being kicked out, then going for this, being completely overwhelmed with this coach. Like he was asking the right questions, but we were not ready yet, like there was a stress. And then, it was such a hard time. And I feel that also in my body really, but it was worth it. And you go through this very deep valley, and every single day that you go through that, you have to know why. And you have to have this feeling like still I can't stop.
And I wish a very bright future for your company. And thank you very much for being part of hashtag being entrepreneur. I think our discussion can provide a lot of value to our audience, and hopefully you and companies like Avidia Labs can change the world, change the whole education system, and create better individuals.
Thank you. So on LinkedIn, we are the digital schooling company, and that's the best way to contact and connect to us. Our homepages are
like nobody goes to website anymore. They all connect on platform.
It's a great platform. The digital schooling company. Join us. As I said, like we have many people like this week I'll be busy with job interviews without even like only providing equity. Like we are preparing how to make this process of equity giving more transparent and so on. Like we're always working on these kind of things. Growth is super hard.
It is, but it's worth it. It's worth the wait. It's worth the process, and it's worth the vision that you have in your company.
Yeah,
really worth it.
Absolutely.
And again, a very happy new year to you, and guys, everybody who's watching, a very happy new year to you. Have a great year ahead, and thank you for watching. And Gerd, thank you for being part of this.
Sachin, thank you so much for organizing this. It was a great pleasure. So very honored that you invited me.
It's okay. And I would really like to connect with you more, and hopefully we can come up with new topics to discuss. Maybe involve your team someday. We can have a great discussion on that.
Yeah. Also, like on my team, like I have like Jamal from the Berlin Startup Club, Mirage, Chad is a great teacher at the Berlin School of Business Innovation. Like you look at me right now, but there are giants that are supporting me, and these people are great, like really cool people.
Sure, we will schedule a session and we'll have a discussion on something, right? Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Bye, guys.